Hey everyone, so for today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive on the parable of the prodigal son. So I know that in the previous video, I also talked about how I was thinking of making a video where I talk about fitness and health. So that'll actually be the video after this one. I don't really have an intro, to be honest. We're just going to go ahead straight into scripture. So we're going to be taking a look at Luke chapter 15, verse 11 through 32. So why don't we go ahead and get started? And he said, "There was a man who had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me.' And he divided his property between them. Not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey into a far country, and there he squandered his property in reckless living. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, 'How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish here with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants.' And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion, and ran and embraced him and kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Bring quickly the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. And bring the fattened calf, and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found.' And they began to celebrate. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, 'Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound.' But he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him. But he answered his father, 'Look, these many years I have served you, and I never disobeyed your command. Yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him.' And he said to him, 'Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for this your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found.'" Okay, so before I actually dive deeper into this reading right here, I want to give, I guess, a little backstory as to why I wanted to share this story with you guys. So I'm sure as I began reading this parable, most of you probably knew what the story was about. And quite a few sermons that I've attended in the past have also talked about this parable as well. And they'll say how the father is like God and the younger brother is like us, where we sin against our father and we kind of do our own thing. We live the life that we want to do and we kind of indulge. And we eventually realize that we sinned against our father and what we did was wrong. And then we come back to God, ask for forgiveness. And this story showcases just how much love and how the father is willing to forgive us no matter what or how much we have sinned. But there's something that I want to take an even closer look at. And I feel like not a lot of pastors talk about this. And that's the older brother. And I actually think that some of us are the older brother. So when we take a closer look at the last paragraph of this parable, so we'll see that the older brother, he hears all the commotion, he hears the music, he hears dancing, and he asks one of the servants, hey, well, what's going on? What's with all the noise that I'm hearing? And the servant breaks the news to him that, hey, your younger brother, he's returned, he's alive. And there's this huge feast that your father has decided to like put up for your younger brother. And the older brother doesn't respond with joy or happiness. He responds with anger. He's frustrated. So he goes up to the house, he goes up to the party. But notice that he doesn't enter the house. He stands right at the front of the door. So the father comes out, and the older brother is complaining to his dad. He's saying, Father, how could you celebrate this sinner? I've done everything you ever told me to do. I never disobeyed you. I did every single thing right. And yet you killed the biggest sorry, excuse me. You killed the biggest calf for him. You put on the biggest robes on him. Where's my reward? And this is the important thing that I want to know, is that the older brother believed that his father owed him something. He believed that his sacrifices owed him something. This is absolutely a dangerous mindset to have. I've heard many stories of people who fall out of the Christian faith because maybe they lost a loved one, or the next day they found out that they have cancer, and then they think to themselves, God, how could you do this to me? I did everything right. I never sinned. I followed every single commandment that you gave me. Like, this isn't the life that I thought you would give me. And because of that, they walk away from the faith. In their heads, they had their own version of God, which is not the same God that is talked about in the Bible. And I believe that as believers, as followers of God, when we do things in life, when we do works, we do them without expecting anything in return. We do it freely. We do it because of the goodness of our hearts. Don't do it because you're expecting something in return. Never do that, because God does not owe you anything. Your sacrifices do not owe you anything. There's a book that I highly recommend for all of you guys to read, and that would be The Prodigal God by Tim Keller. So before reading this book, I already had that mindset where my sacrifices don't owe me anything. But after reading this book, it even further strengthened that belief that I had. But yeah, this book really inspired me to make this video, and it goes even more in depth about the story of the prodigal son. So yeah, for those of you that want to dive deeper and learn even more about this story, I highly recommend this book. But yeah, that's basically the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new from watching this. So yeah, next video, like I said earlier, it's going to be about fitness and health. I'm going to be talking about my opinions on that. And then, yeah, we'll just go from there. And then you guys will just have to wait and find out what I post for my future videos. So, all right, take care, guys. Peace out.